What's up guys, StarZGO here. Today I'll bring you my top 10 cards from Burst of Destiny. Now keep in mind, it's my personal list. I am not giving a spot to any Flunderies cards. I think the deck in general is quite good, but there wasn't one card that stood out, so I don't expect a card from that archetype in my list. I'm not going to be able to list all the great cards in the set. The set's a contender for best set in Yu-Gi-Oh! History, so it's going to be, it was kind of hard to only pick 10. Some cards kind of are from the same strategy, so give me some slack on that, but yeah, they're just really good cards that deserve multiple mentions. And let's get it started. So my number 10 is Qi Xiao, the Xiangjian Grand Swordmaster. So this level 8 Synchro is somewhat generic with its materials. It allows you to search basically any of your Xiangjian starters. And it's also somewhat generic-ish. The only specific requirements are non-tuner Worm Monster, which Tenji can easily do, and then just make this without even using a normal summon, which is, honestly, if you think about it, pretty insane. That just means you still search your best starter, which, spoiler alert, is somewhere on this list. So yeah, the Synchro is very good. It also has an interruption on it, on top of just searching your starters, so yeah, it's actually completely nuts. So it's a shame it's only one effect per turn, so going second it's not as great, but it's still a very good card. My number 9 is King of the Sky Prison. I think everyone should respect this card. I'm not sure just where to place this card. It is a strong card. So this basically, by revealing it, protects your back row. And then during your opponent's turn, if it's already revealed and you activate a set spell or trap, you're able to search any spell trap from your deck and set it to your field. Now, one example of a deck that can greatly utilize this is, for example, Eldritch. You can reveal it in your hand to make all your traps, your back row. You need to cast like Lightning Storm. And then, in the end phase of the opponent's turn, quickly use a trap to then search something like Cursed Eldland, you know? I think this card has a lot of potential, and we'll see players in decks like that, but also in Altergeist and just in a lot of decks in general that are control focused. So definitely think you need to invest in this card when it comes out. But number 8 is honestly an overlooked card until the right support card to play with this came out, Jubilation of the Branded. So this card searches Ecclesia, one of the new cards in the set, the new Ecclesia, not the old Ecclesia, which, spoiler alert, also later on the list, in exchange for discarding a monster. While also sending something like Predaplant Chimera Rafflesia to search Super Polymerization, or El Shadow Up Cologne to search Shadow combo, or Elder Entity Entest to pop a card, or one of the Abyss Lore fusions like Titaniclad. So the discard isn't even a huge minus that you're able to search a new card. This card is great going second if they don't have a way to negate spells, and I definitely think some strategy will play this, because keep in mind it searches an insane starter in Xiangjing Mojay, which is also on this list. Lots of spoilers already, but yeah, the spell is honestly quite insane. Not even kidding. So my number 7 is somewhat of a generic support card. It's Soldrapon Fengli. Keep in mind that a lot of these cards will probably change when we get them in the TCG, name-wise at least, so keep that in mind. This card is basically somewhat like a Glow Bulb in certain strategies, and I think we won't ever see Glow Bulb back in the game. This card is honestly insane when combined with Chaos Ruler. If you're able to reveal this card with Chaos Ruler, it will immediately allow you to go into Abyss and then revive the Chaos Ruler, which in certain strategies like Light Swarm is going to be very strong. But it has some other uses as well. Think of decks like Sylvan that are just going to be great with this card. I like this card because it helps a lot of strategies, but it's also just great in some of my favorite decks like Light Swarm. So there's a bit of bias, but I definitely think this card deserves a spot on the list. My number 6 is Ecclesia, the Virtuous of White. Yeah. I shouldn't need to explain this too much, but this summons another broken card on this list from the deck. And it's also able to self-special summon when going second, so yeah, it's a very strong card. I definitely think we'll see some playing. Now, I'm not entirely sure about the Fallen of Albas thing yet. We got a lot of support recently for that card, but I'm not impressed by that card just yet. But it's definitely a strong card nonetheless, and it will definitely see some form of play. Now my next card is somewhat of a controversial pick maybe, but I think Transonic Bird is definitely going to be insane in certain strategies. Since it allows you to not only ritual summon your opponent's turn, but also play around hard ones per turn of some ritual spells. Like for example the Necros ritual spells. It's also able to summon the Chaos Dark Magician Max, I forgot the exact name, that kind of acts like a King Calamity in your opponent's turn, which might also see some play. I just think this card has a lot of generic potential for ritual decks. It's also level 4, making it very easy to use in a lot of ritual strategies, as level 4 is quite a popular level. My number 4 is a card that already breaks an existing strong deck. It's Evil Twins Trouble Sunny. So I'm a big fan of Evil Twins. If you know me for a while, you should know this. So this is a Link 4 that needs to use at least I believe I Evil Twin specifically, an Evil Twin monster. So usually just makes it with 2 Evil Twin links. And then it can basically just tribute itself to special summon them from your grave, which is honestly quite insane, as both on special summon do something great. Yeah, it's an insanely strong extender, or yeah, boss monster for a deck that's just already a very strong deck. So yeah, I think it bumps up Evil Twin a tier, so it will go from rogue to like a tier 3 deck in the TCG with this card. But yeah, that's just my personal opinion. Feel free to disagree, of course, with this list. It's my view on the game. So number 3 is Cupid Pitch. At first I didn't mind this card too much, I didn't really think of a way to practically use it, but I found the use and now I'm gonna tell you and explain why it's so good. So it's an insane combination with the Deskbot Auroradon combo, as it will easily turn this into Savage Dragon. You see, if you make this with one of the level 3 tokens and the Deskbot tuner, you will be able to increase this card's level to level 5. Then you can use it with one of the other level 3 tokens to immediately straightly go into Borrowed Savage Dragon. And it also then gives you a search, which this card has some insane search targets, like Beast of Pharaoh, which if you can get it on the field is pretty much guaranteed FTK. Reborn Tengu, Creation Resonator. I'm not entirely sure how this card will get used, but it's going to be meta relevant in some kind of form probably, and it's just a huge game changer for synchro decks in general. So my number 2, if you've heard me in like my Discord server, which you should by the way join, it's in the description. If you came into contact with me, you should know how hyped I'm about this card and this deck in general. It's Mojay the Xiangjian Swordmaster. If you have this card and any Worm monster in your hand, you will end on something like an Engage that chain blocks. You can chain block your search actually. Draw a card if they don't interrupt you. And you'll end with 2 bodies on the field which are both interrupts. This card is honestly going to be insane, and Ecclesia, Jubilation of the Branded, their own search makes it very consistent. I wouldn't be surprised if this deck became like tier 2. I don't think it has the potential to just be tier 1 yet, but it's definitely going to be a strong deck, and you'd be a fool to underestimate this deck. Now, my number 1 is going to be out of nowhere, but I will need to explain it after I understand it. You will understand, it's based on the OCG meta, which I got some insight on thanks to an OCG player on my Discord server. It's called Break the Destiny. At first I was very skeptical about this card. I thought it was that great in Destiny Hero. And it's not that great in Destiny Hero, it's broken outside of Destiny Hero, and that's why I'm listing it. So, for those that didn't notice yet, this card searches D-Force, if you send it to the grave. And what D-Force does is search Plasma and gives some additional protection. Which basically comes down to the following. Your Destiny Hero Plasma is a one-sided skill drain, while all your back row, or while your floodgates, are going to be protected. They need something like Lightning Storm to even stand a chance to break your back row. I can imagine certain decks playing something like Summon Limit, or Imperial Order, or Anti-Spell Fragments, and then protecting those back row. It's going to be very hard for decks to break your field, especially if you're able to build an additional board on top of this. And the only card that you need to run this engine is Break the Destiny, a D-Force, which is fine to draw. If you draw, you can also just use it, and 1 Destiny Hero Plasma, which, once again, is also kind of fine to already have in your hand. So the only real true card is Break the Destiny, and you need a way to get Break the Destiny into the grave. There are a couple ways to do this, including Curious, which is just a link 3 that requires 3 monsters with the same attribute at different types, or Beatrice. Those are 2 easy ways to do it, although Foolish Burial Goods also will work, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see decks playing this kind of strategy. Because, as I've been told, Lyrilusk Bloody, Lyrilusk Plasma Turbo with D-Force, is already a meta strategy in the OCG, and combo decks will be able to play Break the Destiny with D-Force. Think of decks like Dragon Link, 3Axis, Lightsworn. I mean, Lightsworn can just straight up mill this by chance and then search D-Force, and then throw it on top of their existing boards, potentially becoming a meta contender. There's definitely going to be decks that are going to abuse Break the Destiny, although I'm not sure yet which decks, but there's definitely a card you should keep in mind. I would be too surprised if this card in a few months after release will get banned, because it's honestly ridiculous. One-sided skill drain, that's also hard to destroy, that's also being protected, that also steals your monster in the following turn, it also protects your floodgates. How are you outing that board? And it's pretty consistent, easy to make as well. Those are my top 10 cards from Burst of Destiny. Any cards I missed, I surely did. Feel free to tell it in the comments. Make sure to not be too much of a dick. I mean, I'm a human, I forget some cards I don't think are worth mentioning in general. You're always free to listen in the comments. As always, have a beautiful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Started signing out. Peace.